Buenas noches, mi gente. Hello again. Good evening, my people. And welcome back to Conciencias Con Cocktails this Thursday, September 10th, for our part 2 of our fashion and activism episode with our fierce guests, Miss Kiki, Miss Ericka, Mrs. Ericka, Scott, and Carlton, who were such a huge success on part 1. And we got to know our designers on a personal level and, you know, what made them and what inspired them to become who they are. We saw beautiful collections from Carlton Jones with those, again, those beautiful colors and print. His ad campaign is absolutely stunning. We also saw work from Ericka Suarez Weise at our CO3 Lounge. And we also going to show you some red carpet looks from Miss Ericka Weise. We also saw additional red carpet looks from Scott, who has styled and designed for celebrities such as Beyonce for the Oscars and Shakira Barrera for the SAG Awards. The SAG Awards? Yeah, the SAG Awards. Look at that. I can keep them straight. We also had dramatic moments from Next in Fashion with Miss Kiki Kitty, and we had a ball. But now we have to, you know, get to the nitty gritty. Before we get to that, I want to just say a friendly reminder that the first ever transgender suicide hotline is now up and running in the US. Again, anyone can reach Trans Lifeline at 877-565-8860. So again, 877-565-8860. Our trans folks, our family, our siblings, you know, sometimes it gets tough, you know, and I have to say that for any of us is an incredibly difficult time. And you throw on top of that the battle of being different or be just you wanting to be yourself, which we know that the trans community is fighting that, and we love you guys. So again, 877-565-8860. If you are in need to chat with someone, you can reach Trans Lifeline. So now we continue on our part 2 of our episode titled Fashion and Activism, and we have our designers ready to talk shop. Say hello, everybody, to Scott, Ericka, Carlton, and Kiki. Hey, guys, hey. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
It's been a minute. Listen, I'm still over here hanging out with the fashion house. Are you guys still drinking the same? What's happening over there?
Mm-hmm. I have my new drink.
Jasmine, Kiki, what are you drinking now?
My little gift.
Yes, gift. Tell us what this lovely gift is. Is this whiskey?
It's whiskey. I am a whiskey connoisseur. And is this not fantastic?
That is beautiful.
A nice little gift from one entrepreneur to another. And it is highlighting women in the Prohibition era.
Hey.
So, brewed from a Black woman from the Prohibition era. And
beautiful. So we're going to make sure to put
St. Liberty.
We're going to make sure to put that link on our comments so people get to know these beautiful ladies who are creating this gorgeous whiskey, women of color. Again, go ahead, Kiki.
Birdie's Beer Glitch.
Again, one of the ways that we support our people of color is to support people of color's businesses. And here we are in Fashion Week, and we're discussing our Fashion Week. And we know the Fashion Week and major events have been disrupted because of coronavirus. So tell me, folks, and we'll start with you, Miss Kiki, because that whiskey is everything, so you get to go first. How do you all think the fashion world can be more inclusive today?
I feel like I've been seeing a lot of trends in the fashion world showing inclusivity on the runways, and I would like that to see that transformed into behind the scenes and in the creative areas. So, you know, me as a creative and kind of being unable to break into other genres once being known for streetwear, I would love to see, there's just so many talented people out there, and I would love to see us all be able to have a chance. And when I say have a chance, I mean like a real chance, like not that fake diversity. Like there's one thing about inclusion and diversity, and there's another where you really give the person a chance to be able to do their thing. You know, like you don't want to, the fake diversity where they're like, well, we tried and we hired them and they couldn't do, and it's just like, but you're not giving them the things that they need. You're not giving them the support. You're not really allowing them to win. So that's really the key to it, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, I think we saw a little bit on your episode, your last episode, episode 4, where your partner in crime, really, her messaging was on point, where she was talking about what you're talking about now. Oop, I think we just have a little freezing moment. There she goes. There you go.
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, you're back though. You're back.
Yeah, no, my partner was amazing. Like, I love that she spoke up and so eloquently. She's just really able to really kind of speak about what's on our mind. Like, sometimes my anger might allow things to get lost in translation. Yeah. So I like that she was able to really bring the point across in a way that it could be heard. And that's, I feel like that's actually one of the things that I liked about this space that we're in right now. We are finally having the opportunity to be angry and be heard. Because usually when you're angry, people shut you down immediately. And they act like your anger doesn't count, or it's like, oh, you're just being the angry Black girl, or you just, you know, and no matter what it is, if it's justified or not, you just get shut down immediately. And one thing about just this space that we're in right now, I just felt like I had the right to be angry. Like finally, the first time, like you can, like you permission, like we need permission to be able to be angry. And I felt like that was happening. So I was like, man, I didn't even know what to do with it.
Yeah, you know, you're bringing such a good point, and I know that I've spoken with Scott about this also, and it's as our reactions, right? Especially as people of color, right? We're so passionate. They call us passionate, or they call us spicy, or they call us all these names, right? That have never allowed what you're speaking of, and it's for us to express our anger as much as we express our happiness.
To belittle your feelings.
Right, it's our feelings. And just because we transmit our feelings differently than other races, doesn't mean that is better, that is worse, that is anything, but it's our way of being. And I like, for me, I can speak of being a Latino. I love being Latino, you know? I love hearing, I love, you know, the Spanglish for my folks who were raised here in the United States, because they're still part of us. And when people try to tell me how I should speak, or how we should behave, or how we should dress, or how, it angers me, because they're trying to kind of hold us down. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't express, you can express yourself, but not too much.
Right.
Don't get crazy. You know, and I think
everyone else has the right to show all of these emotions and show anger and whatever, and just present them whatever they're feeling, and it'd be okay. But with that's, it's like, oh, well, now I'm scared for my life, because, and it's just like, really?
And the fact that we talk about the, you know, the black angry woman, the fact that we even have those labels is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Or that scary Black guy. Like, why is he scary? Do you even know this man? Like, all of a sudden, he just does the narrative. So I want to move on to Ms. Ericka. Please let us know in your neck of the woods, right? Again, being in South America, opportunities are very different. Also, we deal, as Latinos, we deal with colorism. We deal with xenophobia within our own. We are prejudiced against our people of color, and that is something that we have to say it and say it loud, because not only the Afro-Latinos, but also our indigenous folks are, every single day, they are being attacked, And I think that it's time to speak to someone. And I always like to go to the root. And you are in Bolivia, honey. So you can tell us exactly how it is. But tell us, how do you think the fashion world can be more inclusive?
You know, I think I was listening to you guys, and of course, we have a long way to walk here in inclusion. We are a very, very conservadora, how do you say conservadora?
Conservatives.
Conservative society. And today, talking about transgender in fashion, as a model, as a TV personality, is very difficult to accept for the rest of the people. So I don't know how to put this in words because my English is very but I will try my best. So Bolivia is a very cultural and very multicultural country, you know, and a lot of indigenous people live here, and now we are walking through a process of changing in the society, you know, with all this Evo Morales thing and the process of democracia, you know, and it's very important. People think they know that Bolivia is now going through, how can I say this?
¿Me lo puedes decir en español que yo te lo identifico?
Está aceptando de a poco que hay gente diferente, que somos diferentes y que tenemos derecho a ser diferentes. We have right to be different and to feel different. So it's not just to be indigenous, be gay or lesbian or be trans. So everybody in Bolivia now is having the rights, how do you say, Kiki?
Equal rights, they're fighting for equal rights.
Siente con derecho de hablar y tiene, o sea, como que ahora hay otra.
So they have the right. They feel like they have the right, just like Kiki, you speaking, you feel like you have the right to speak, to be vocal. Right. The indigenous folks and the people from Bolivia are feeling that same power of being.
And the woman, and as you know, woman is feeling more empowered. So that's very important because we have two parts in Bolivia. We have the east part, that is where I live, Santa Cruz, and we have the Altiplano. No, I think you are the part that you know from Bolivia, the Cholita. No, you know that part. So. Those communities, that are the indigenous people from the Occidente, they are taking more protagonismo. How do you say that?
They're taking more lead. They're taking more of a lead role.
Yeah, and they show in their culture, and Bolivia is showing to the world the culture, and they feeling that they are strong and they could be indigenous with a lot of proud, and that's very, very. Vogue has.
Yes.
Is making documentary films about Cholitas and our indigenous. So, you know, we are, estamos en el foco ahora, ¿no? Nos están mirando.
They're on the spotlight right now. They're being watched.
For the political.
So, yeah, which is incredible. I think that Ericka is a really great example of inclusivity within her hometown because she has been featured in Vogue Mexico, Elle en Español, all these beautiful, so she's making her way, you know, like, but she shouldn't be the only one. There is so much talent in Bolivia that she shouldn't be the only one who's climbing that ladder. Tell us, Carlton, as our man of color, beautiful, gorgeous, Adonis of a man that you are. Tell us how you feel the fashion world can be more inclusive.
You know, I think in all those ways that these ladies have mentioned, but I think it also goes beyond the optics of seeing color in ads and seeing it on runways and really putting people in positions of power, like true power, people are deserving. And then also, yeah, and having them inclusive in the pool. And like Kiki said, it's not just, oh, we have this representation of diversity because that's what's politically correct to do, but also have people who are really qualified and who are really candidates for whatever that position is in those positions to have a fair chance at their shot, at their time. And then, like I said, beyond the optics and just in real power pointing positions. I think that's key.
I agree with that so much. And Scotty, as our fierce advocate in the fashion world, tell us what you think the fashion world can do to be more inclusive.
Yeah, I think like we hit on it a couple places. I was going to say, you know, if you are in any industry, in any kind of organization, if you are in a place of power or influence, to make sure you check with our Black family, our Latino family, our Asian family, to make sure that they are represented within your company or your organization or your teachers in schools. So there's that level, but then there's also the consumer side of it. Like white people support Black companies. It works both ways. Like I think that there is this divide when white people feel they can't, like they can only like contribute money to the organizations or whatever. But no, you can go online and find a number of Black-owned businesses that you can support by buying from them. So that way you're becoming more inclusive by using your purchasing power to support an entire community that might not get that support because of either white brands or larger brands and larger type designer outlets and whatnot, fast fashion. You know, there's so many ways that as a consumer we can contribute to, especially white consumers, contribute to bringing a little bit more diversity into your lives in general. So, but then also I was going to say, companies like Gucci, look what Gucci is doing because of the backlash of being, you know, they've been completely ignorant in their optical ad campaigns. So because of the backlash of their appropriation or ignorance, they now have started an entire council of different Black influencers and business owners and entrepreneurs to now help Gucci with their direction. And, you know, you look at Dapper Dan, who's been using Gucci product his whole career. Now they're finally taking him seriously after years and years and years of kind of shunning him, turning their back to him. So, you know, it's slowly happening, but I think it could happen faster when you look at every level of fashion that we're talking about. You know?
Yeah, I think that, go ahead. Who wants to take it? Miss Kiki, you guys go ahead.
I think we all are. We all are. I was just one quick thing. No, I was just applauding Scott's comment and just saying, like, this is a position where, sure, white people can, this is where they have to use their privilege to the advantage of the big picture of things. So that was a great point. I just wanted to interject that. Go, Kiki.
Yeah. I mean, there was something that you said, but God damn it.
Come back, girl. You know it's gonna come.
No, I mean, in general, I think, you know, to Scott's point, and
everything, girl.
It's really just about, also we keep hearing now about places that do hire, you know, that have Black people on staff or whatever, and just create a toxic work environment. So, you know, when you also consider people in power and positions of power and placing people in positions of power, you know, it goes back to what I was saying about allowing them space to do their job and win, because there's so much toxicity a lot of times in these workforces that people like me are like, I'm not working again. Like, like, I have to do entrepreneur life because I cannot, you know, keep subjecting myself to all of this bullshit. And can I say that?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Part 2, girl. We good.
Yeah, like, you don't want to be like, oh, we have this position for you, and then when a person comes in, it's like just a toxic work environment that they're, you know, that they want to kill themselves instead of coming to work. It doesn't, you know, is that position going to be sustainable for them? Like, is another Black person going to want to come? Then, you know, it just creates this whole thing where it's just like, you know, it's
Yeah.
it needs to be something that's fed, for the lack of a better.
Yes, absolutely. Because also I'm seeing that companies are building these positions, as you say, but they're not handling the position as they should. They're not providing the correct support into those positions. So in setting people up for failure, you know, just to say, I have a Latino in such and such role. I have an Asian person working in such and such role, because that's the world we're in today. We're so aware of that it could be a great thing for those people who have a great heart and love inclusivity and understand diversity. A lot of us are, 3 of us are in New York, and Ericka comes to New York every so often. She understands how New York, how we vibe, how we all live together, how we're so, the diversity in this city is incredible. For those is a good thing, but for other people, that kind of inclusivity is not great.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people fighting it. And I know that 2 largest luxury conglomerates, for instance, Paris-based Kering Group and LVMH, have both made commitments to reduce their carbon footprint and their water consumption, which is also such a huge part of what's happening, you know, to better preserve raw materials and improve their waste management, which is huge. Scott, I know that you work, again, you got furloughed, but you're working for a great brand. So let's start off with you. What can brands do to ensure, and I know you touched a little bit on it, but to ensure the responsible and equal partnership within the communities they work within?
Great question. And that's one of the reasons why I loved Patagonia. And I still have a future there, hopefully. After the virus. But one of the things that they do is they get involved with fair trade practices, where the fabrics, the textiles that are sourced come from fair trade markets, where you know that the laborers are not underpaid. You know that they're not living in horrible living situations. So when you buy an item that's marked fair trade, there's a peace of mind knowing that another human being isn't displaced because of it. Like, that's what's wrong with fast fashion, where, you know, you go to H&M and you go to those brands. The reason why those brands are so cheap is because all of that product is placed in places like China and Bangladesh, where labor costs are this much, and they live in horrible conditions. Like, you know, there's a factory collapse, like in, I think, 2013, where like 1,300 people were killed. And that's because of the standards of these places, where when you buy cheap clothes, yeah, you get a cheap t-shirt, but the people who are making it for you are not living very sustainable lives. Like, they're living horrible lives. So we need to, as consumers, I think, just need to be a lot more responsible in how we use our money and where we put our money, if that makes any sense. You know?
Absolutely. Carlton, what do you think, having a brand yourself?
I mean, I think any small steps we can do to, like, for me, myself, having a brand, I started to, like, this last spring, I wanted to introduce more knitwear, and, you know, they're easy. There's so many places to go, but I made a conscious effort to find what was most sustainable and available here in New York. And I discovered, you know, Tinsel jersey, a knit that I've always loved, but who knew that it was made from eucalyptus and that is more sustainable than bamboo?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, certainly I didn't. And it feels incredible. So it was like, it felt really great adding that to the collection, and it feels, it's about what I do. Like, my whole tagline, as you know, is resort isn't a destination, it's a feeling. And I really want people to feel good in the clothes. And I think knowing that it's coming from a point of sustainability is a part of it. Another thing, especially for smaller designers that aren't, because you spoke of big brands, but on a smaller level, like, we're all in this calendar of reinventing, you know, a collection every 6 months or whatever it may be. And I found myself in a position where I was like, well, wait, I have this amazing silk from last collection. I got a whole roll over here I didn't use. I didn't get those orders. I still believe in this print. I love this print. I'm making it work for my next collection. I'll combine it with another print and make a new print. And that's going to be autumn winter 2021.
Yes, recycle. I love it, and it's so true because there's so much material that goes wasted. I think that Ericka, to your point of you creating your own, because she literally she takes what she doesn't use and creates her own. Tell us a little bit how you think brands could be a little bit more involved with the consumer.
You know, I think the first thing we have to take is, for example, in my case, my brand, I try to first work, as Scott said, paying what you have to pay to the artisans and the people is working. When I think my prices, I think the price is the equal designer as artisans, because and the client should pay that. She's paying a woman, and the woman has a family and is a head of family. So, the sustainability has to go that way, And in my case, I work with these wonderful women. They support the families. They support probably not only their families, a nephew, and there are like 15 people probably living in the same house. And they are embroidering all day to take the support. So that's the thing we are thinking now with our brand.
Yeah, and every time we one of the things that Ericka always did whenever we had a project together is that once the celebrity was dressed and ready to go, we would FaceTime her seamstress.
Yeah.
Like her team of seamstresses, so they can see the work that they have created. We would start crying. We would start crying because again, you guys all make all of your beautiful work with love. So Kiki, tell us how you think brands can ensure responsible and equal partnership within the communities and that they work within.
Well, when everybody was talking, the first thing that came to mind was just really that's really the heart of where streetwear came from, and which translated into the heart of what I do, even in a luxury sportswear. It's we've had to take what we can get and create from it. So we take vintage, this goes back to what the discussion from Next in Fashion. We take, vintage things, here and there, whatever, and we create something new with it. Even what Dapper Dan did with Gucci, like you take something, even we just watched Brandy and Monica on like apparently her stylist took a Louis Vuitton trench and cut it up and created something else.
Yeah.
And that was her outfit. So this is what we're accustomed to doing. This is how we did it. In the 90s when I was styling as well, we took things that didn't belong in that space and we created something new from it. We went to the Army and Navy store and created a camouflage, whatever look, and sewed it together. And we just, if you want something new, sometimes you have to just kind of take what's there and make it yours, because when you think about it, that's really what we're doing. We're blue collar workers and everything. We take what's available, but we're creative people and we figure it out. We just do something dope with it. So that's but it also translates into what's beginning to happen outside of streetwear. But that's really where the core of it came from. And that's where, what got the name streetwear. But more companies and more businesses, even me with my luxury, it's those are the things that we start to do. How about a little of this and a little of that and figure it out and pull it together?
Right, right. And we love, love, love all that magic that you guys create because it is really that. It's magic. People can call it marketing. They can call it all these different kind of names, and they can say magic is not real, but magic is very real. And we do that every single day of our lives is that we create magic. So guys, we are going to hang on tight and we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back with our fabulous designers and we're going to talk about how they tie in fashion and activism. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Watch Beauty and Gratitude with your host D'Angelo Thompson every Friday at 8 p.m. right here on Solivity TV.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, this commercial break was everything. We was dancing in CO3 Lounge. We was just doing it, turning it up. It was amazing. I feel like that needs to be on air.
Untucked.
Cheers, guys. Salud, salud. Because
Salud.
so delicious, our gorgeous signature drink. All right, guys, let's keep our conversation going. And in a move that can be termed as the game changer in the fashion industry, Gucci has decided to cut the numbers of fashion shows it hosts each year from 5 to 2, only 2. The creative head of the luxury brand, Alessandro Michel, said that the concept of Fashion Week is over and that the brand will no longer adhere to the Fashion Week calendar. So guys, I want to get your thoughts on this. How do you guys feel about the Fashion Week calendar? Who wants to start with this one? Ericka, go.
I was supporting the idea of Carlton that he mentioned before, that we are being pressured by a calendar. So as an artist, I said that I don't want to be pressured to make like 4 collections a year. Maybe I have just one big important piece to put to show to the people and make that the most important thing of the year, you know, as an artist. So maybe I won't follow any other calendar than mine. So I think that is a way of sustainability too, you know, because you're not making waste, you're not over teniendo mucho stock.
Overproducing and having too much stock.
No, and I think we have to rethink and be conscious about the moment we're having now. So that's my way of like being part of this change, you know, and my brand will change that way.
I love it. Go ahead, Carlton. What you have to say?
I mean, it's pretty much on that same that same thought. Like the collection I was speaking of, I was invited to show for Fashion Week in a very highly regarded platform for Essence, but I had like less than a month to pull that collection together, which most people are taking 5 or 6 months to pull the collection. So it was, for me, it was just kind of that survival mode, like use this fabric because I love it and I can make my statement with it. But true, it's the same thing. It's that became an expansion on what my thoughts already were, and it wasn't. I found myself conforming to that schedule, but I realized, and for the most part, that model is breaking down. And as designers finding different ways to have direct to consumer dialogue, it's not going to be so necessary to stick to this wholesale buying, you know, first delivery, second delivery model anymore. And I'm welcoming that change as people figure out, you know, what works for them individually and not having to, and I think that's what COVID is having us come to terms with, that there is no written formula of how it's going to work for everyone. So rather it's the Vogue conversations or this conversation, I think people are seeing we have to kind of create our own roadmap and to figure our ways out of it. Hopefully sustainability plays a part.
Absolutely. Scott, what do you think about that? Because I know you and I have had long conversations about the fashion calendar, even what you create and how that all plays in. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so like the fashion calendar, its purpose was really to keep the whole entire industry on a timeline, and that comes down to like getting space in factories to get your product produced. And I mean, there's so many middlemen when it comes to that. You've got merchandisers, you've got department store merchandisers. I mean, there's so many parts of the calendar that you needed to adhere to in order to get your product out on time in the old days. Like that's kind of how our brands were trying to stay afloat. But now we're talking about department stores are crumbling. All of these stores, all of these outlets that designers had back then are all falling now. And what's happening is everybody is going, as Carlton said, direct to consumer now. And the only way we can really do that now is through the internet. So now designers, their best move is to go directly to the producers and then figure out distribution on your own through a website of your own. So then you're not losing money either. You're not having to worry about, chargebacks from department stores or whatnot. So I think that all of these things that are happening, even though the pandemic is horrible and, we haven't even talked about the cost of it yet, it's making us in creative industries, not even just creative industries, any industry, look back at what we've been doing, how we can cut corners and make it even better from where it was. I've always kind of complained, like, the merchandiser is such a dumb, sorry, anyone out there that's a merchandiser, they take away, look at Kiki, like, there's a joke, every merchandiser wants to be a designer because a designer will show you a collection and the merchandiser destroys it or changes a color just to get their imprint on it. And so by the time that a designer's collection gets to the store floor, it's been changed or altered or ruined. So in a lot of regards, I'm all for it. Like, create each designer, connect with your customer base, connect with your people. And
that direct community to community, and which we have to be building right now. That's exactly what we need to be thinking about, is building our communities. And fashion is one of those vehicles for building communities. What do you think about that, Kiki? Because you are the queen of artistic expression, honey, and you have empire after empire and branding. Honey, you're a boss. What do you think about this?
Well, I feel like we're finally in this place where we're getting back to real artistry, like getting back to really loving and really appreciating the actual artistry of the design of what it is that we do. So, when you consider that, just like Ericka, Carlton, Scott, what we're saying is, like, when you are getting back to the real artistry of it, art doesn't follow a calendar. Like, if the reason that you love my collection is because of, the real expression that comes from me. Like, it's my heart and soul and what I'm pouring out to it, as all of us are. And that's not gonna be, it's not limited to just one particular season. It's not, I can't put it in a calendar. Like, that's not just, it's just not how creativity, it's not how art, it's not how any of it works. And I feel like we're just kind of now coming into the space where all of that is just becoming more appreciated, where before there was no appreciation for it. It was appreciation for throwaway fashion and appreciation for everyone being the same. And, that's not what made any of us love this industry. It's not what made any of us come to do this and to want to be into this crazy field. We got into it because it was a way of expression for us. Like, that's what really that's the driving force behind all of our brands, is that it's our form of expression. So if you're trying to take that away and want to minimize it and want to kind of like shove it into these little things that work because it works for whatever, like, we don't care about all that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the person cares about that, the planner cares about all that, whatever, I don't care. We don't care about all that. We want to do what the hell we want to do. And if the industry is moving in that direction for real artistry to exist again, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I love it. Art doesn't follow a calendar. I love, love, love that. Can we get that on a t-shirt? Can we do?
Okay.
We already starting over here with our collective with Carlton, Ericka. What? God, we be clearing the only collection. So, all right, guys, I want to take it into the environment, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about that. What will it take to create reliable environmental regulations for the fashion industry? And I want to go to Scott on this one first, because Scott and I'm telling you, we spent hours on the phone like we're losers, just talking about all of the injustices in the world, and this is one of them. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so like with the environment, I mean, you can jump in at any level of the fashion industry, and it's still the second leading cause of climate change of all the industries. And that's whether it has to do with textile design, textile production. Like, for instance, break it down all the way to using cotton fabrics. The water consumption on cheap cotton is higher than the cost would for you to even produce a cotton t-shirt. The cost of the water going into creating that t-shirt is more than the t-shirt itself. So it's just not a sustainable practice of using certain fabrics like polyester. Polyester is an oil-derived fabric, and so we're using synthetic fabrics, but so we can't really get rid of oil extraction if we're using fabrics that incorporate oil. So like on every level, we're I mean, even donating your clothes. They say that donating your clothes goes to a landfill. 9 times out of 10, it's either incinerated or goes to a landfill, or shipped to another country where it just gets discarded. So on so many levels, I'm trying to think of more. I had a whole bunch of them listed out, but on so many levels, like the environment, we as designers, we need to start thinking about creative ways to stop that. And that means using our scraps. That means when we lay out a pattern, try to use as much of the pattern of the fabric with our pattern pieces. And Kiki and Carlton know what I'm talking about. Like, just so there's not as much fabric waste in your product design. So on every level, we just need to start thinking more critically about everything that we're producing right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely. What do you think about that, Mr. Carlton?
I think absolutely, as you say, and I think where people, it seems so overwhelming in the beginning of what we can do individually, but if you think about production and you think about saving 30 cents on an item, but then you multiply that by 5,000 items, that's really how we have to think about it, what those small contributions are that each and every one of us can do, and how that is going to impact us globally. And I think with most change, when people find themselves overwhelmed, that's really the way I approach it. It's like, what can I do in a small amount that multiplied by whatever the exponent is going to make a difference? And I think that's really the approach that we have to look at it.
Yeah, that's really smart. Actually, I want to bring in, because I know you all are activists in your own right. You all give back to your communities in your own ways. And I want to start with Miss Ericka down in Bolivia. How do you tie in fashion and activism with Ericka Suarez Weise collection?
But it's activism as you practice probably is not the way that I can put this here, but my activism is to put my culture in my work, to present Bolivia through my collections, to present Bolivia and the colors and the indigenous communities and the artisans through my pieces. So that's the way I do my activism now, because I like Carlton says, we can do a little bit from our place, and that's my way to make to put Bolivia on a spotlight,
on the global map.
Yeah.
And that is what you are doing, sweetie.
And we have so much to show and so much probably, I don't know if you know something about my culture, but probably you haven't heard, or you have seen just the cholita, but there is so much more to show. And that's my mission. And that's my, I'm going through that path.
Yeah, we're definitely all taking a trip to Bolivia, all four of us, and we're going to go hang out. And we're taking an inspiration trip. I know you guys remember that. You remember the inspiration trip? You're like, girl, that's a 3-hour lunch. Let's go. I love it. But yeah, that is a great way, Ericka, of contributing to our fight, is to make sure that we represent our culture, that we protect our beautiful indigenous folks, their work, and you do that day in and day out. Mr. Carlton Jones, I know that you are working on a great program with masks and all that beautiful. Tell us a little bit about your fashion and activism.
Yeah, actually, I guess COVID was having all that time home, figuring out what to do, not feeling creative, not feeling inspired to make clothes. I was a part of a group of designers that were chatting online, and we found an organization, well, that's based out of all of New York. It's the COVID Relief Food Banks of New York, and they were needing masks for the food bank in Harlem, which is, you know, that was on 116th Street. It was a place that I walked past all the time. I saw the work.
Our people, honey, our people.
Our people, my neighborhood, they needed masks. And that's actually what propelled me to start making masks. Okay, in all honesty, in conjunction with wanting one that was comfortable for myself to wear. So I started originally doing masks as a part of a charitable donation for this organization. And then my seamstress was like, okay, there are people who have never sewn a day in their life. They're making masks. So you're a designer. You need to be doing some. You have a following. Make it happen. And fast forward, that has completely pivoted my brand and my business. And I went into full-time mask making for the last 3 months, and as well as, you know, continuing to give to the food banks. And it feels incredible.
I know you have some of the proceeds that are going back to, right?
Yes, well, combination. I started off with, as the promo, it was proceeds going back to, and then they informed me that in fact, they actually needed masks as well. So I basically used portions of the proceeds to make masks to go back to the food bank, because they had workers coming in. So it's protecting people. It's good stuff. It's really good.
It's community. We're getting back to community. I love it. I love it. What about you, Miss Kiki? How you doing with fashion and activism on your head? Go ahead and unmute your side over there. Go ahead.
Oopsie.
There you go.
How am I doing with fashion and activism? Like you said, fashion always goes along with activism, and I think I'm accidentally an activist. I'm a Panther kid, so I grew up, you know, even if you don't have to be a Panther kid, but I think all of our parents were probably in that civil rights movement in that era. So there's a certain thing that I think we were raised with that just kind of like inherently makes us activists. And I think if you're true to your art, you're true to your culture, just like Ericka was saying, like there's certain things that, you know, these are the things that drive us artistically. These are the things that drive our collections. Like when you're true to who you are and who your culture is, you know, what your culture is, then you're just, you know, without even thinking about it, you're being an activist. Because if you really stay true and stand up for it, then you're going to be an activist. And
absolutely. I always tell Ericka she's so good about protecting her heritage and protecting her culture for the world to see.
I mean, you don't even think about it, then you're there. You're doing it. You're just like, I'm just making cute stuff, right, you know, that speaks to me. And then you realize when, you know, it connects with people and people really identify with it, and they really kind of start reaching out, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm an activist.
Right, right. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your activism because your activism is everything and super fashionable, and we love all of it. And Mr. Scott Nylund, I mean, activism is like a whole show that we need to do just with Scott because every day in and out, he's at a protest somewhere. You know, again, one of our, I think one of the things that ties us together so strongly, Scott, is the fact that we care so much about humanity and we care about people's rights and equality. And I'm always telling Scotty that he is the example of what an advocate should be and look like. And thank you for supporting all of us in all of the work that you do. But tell us how you tie in your fashion and activism. Like, for example, the Shakira gown, I mean, that's fashion and activism to the realest. We're fighting political issues with Nicaragua with that design. Talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, I guess like, as you know, like most of what I've been wanting to do is, it needs to mean something. Like after working with Beyonce and Mistina, I stepped away for a while. I needed to step away to just unplug and set my priorities. Yeah, and that's around when Standing Rock happened. And it really kind of shocked me out of my self-pity, spiral of not being sure where I want to go. And then that combined with my trip to the rainforest, and subsequently learning about what indigenous cultures down there are facing. So I think like for me, it meant stepping back from the industry for a while. Like I don't need to be producing clothes. I don't need to be like, I'm basically the mayonnaise sandwich of fashion as the white guy. Like for me, I'd rather amplify my friends' voices, my like Black women and indigenous women and Latinas that my people should be listening to. Like I didn't even want to come on the show. I think we should be listening to the Kikis and the Carltons and the Erickas and like I was resistant to coming on because nobody needs to be hearing about me, in my opinion. But like I want to be listening.
Not in my opinion, but go ahead.
Well,
This is diversity, Scott.
I guess I'm getting inspiration from the leaders of the movement. Kiki, your existence in the industry is resistance. That is protest. You are declaring your streetwear. That is you. So you are doing that. And Carlton just being here and showing us what you are producing all the time, building a brand. And then like, this is why I wanted to have coffee with you guys, like just to hear and learn what you guys are up to. So for me, the resistance has to come from like people like Helena and Nina Gwalinga of the Sariaku community, or Solange Burnett, who has Humble Bloom, which is a cannabis activist company, Tamika Mallory and Sonia Guajajara of Brazil, and then like different organizations like Amazon Watch or Women's Earth and Climate Action Network, their leaders. Like those are the people that I've really kind of just started listening to and taken a step back because, we all need to be learning and listening more. So yeah, that's where I am. And the streets is where I believe we need to do it. In my personal opinion, and I'm gonna go there, this voting isn't gonna matter. Yes, go out and vote, but we need to all be hitting the streets and supporting each other. In my opinion, my Black family, my indigenous family, my Latina family, my Asian family, all of us woke, I hate the word woke, but all of us conscious white people, we all need to be coming together and hitting the streets to stop this fascist organization from taking over this country. So that's kind of where I'm at. Fashion is an afterthought to where my mind is right now, but I'm happy to be on this platform with you guys and honored to share it with, Kiki and Ericka and yeah. Sorry,
What do you think about his comment, Carlton? Because I know that you said about his inclusivity, him being part of our conversation.
No, I think it's crucial. For the obvious reasons, because we can't call ourselves advocating diversity and exclude this voice. I think it's very necessary. And you're also, I mean, and as well, your example alone it speaks volumes. So I think that it works both ways, that this conversation needs, like, we need to own it, but also this is a way that you use your privilege. And I think that it's crucial that people see that there's ways that they can do it without just, it's not about, you know, putting $5 in a, you know, in a charity jar. It's about really finding innovative ways to involve yourself and to make people aware and conscious. And so I applaud your efforts to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, I was like, Scott, you better be on this show. I was like, because, you know, we're friends, obviously, on our social media platforms. And I see the impact that he's having on the folks back at home, back in Minnesota, you know, the folks everywhere. If people see us, then they're going to feel empowered to say, you know what, I can be the next fashion designer to do X, Y, and Z. I can be the next illustrator. I can be the next president of the United States. I can be, you know, anything that we want to do. As long as we have examples, they truly feel that we can dream just bigger. So with that said, I want all of your social medias, because I am an advocate for social media relationships, because it can either be a really bad thing or a beautiful thing, you know? So let's start with Kiki. Kiki, why don't you tell us your social media handle so we can start following you now?
Well, for my brand, it's Kmilele, K-M-I-L-E-L-E, and which is my government name. Kmilele means the sunbeam.
Can you please tell us what your name means again?
Sunbeam everlasting.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then my personal is Kiki Kitty Doll. So on everything.
Beautiful. Miss Ericka, what about your social media handle?
So my social media is Weise Atelier, W-E-I-S-A, Atelier.
W-E-I-S-E Atelier. You got it.
Sorry. And Ericka Suarez Weise también is a personal one. So you can follow there my work, and Bolivia.
Yes, anywhere in the world. That's the beauty of the virtual world, is you could get an email from somebody in China who just watched the show. Who knows, you know, that's the beauty of the virtual world. We're not in a little tiny bubble anymore. So thank you so much for sharing that. Mr. Scott Nylund, what are your social media?
So for Instagram, it's Scott, SCOTT 1230. And that's basically it. You can find me on Facebook at Scott Nylund if you want, but Instagram is where it's at. So,
yep, and if you want to know any Justice Ride information, anywhere that you want, just DM him or DM me, DM Street Riders, Chef Orlando, all of us. We are all in this. And if you're here in New York, come on Saturday and hang out with us and wear brown. All right.
Justice for Breonna Taylor.
And
don't
justice
forget
for Breonna Taylor. Say her name.
Amen.
Say that name. Yep.
There we go. All right, Mr. Carlton Jones. What is your social media that we can follow you?
That's it. It's my name, Carlton Jones Collection, for my brand, which I think the spelling somewhere, Carlton Jones Collection. And my personal is Carlton Jones 212, where you can see all the other stuff.
Juicy stuff come in. Okay, yes, Kiki. You better take that step.
Okay.
All right, guys. Salud. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you so much for making these 2 episodes so magical. And I know that we're going to be getting the DMs and the beautiful messages, because you guys all shine so beautifully. And I love you all so, so much. All right. So we will be in touch soon, because I know this is not the last time that we're all going to be together, or you're going to be part of my show. All right. So thank you. Mwah. I'm sending you kisses and hugs.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
to everyone at home, thank you everyone again for watching our part 2 with our fierce designers and fashion directors and illustrators. Yes, Scotty, and to all my Black and Latinx trans family, thank you, and we love you, absolutely. We will see you next week. Again, please wear a mask. If you don't have one, call Carlton and he'll make you one. And some of that proceed is going to go back into it. So we just keep it tight. We keep it in the community. La comunidad is what we're doing. All right, guys? So again, wear your mask. Remember to stay curious, be gorgeous, y amable. Salud, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Everybody, stay safe.